Hey guys,
Hey.
welcome back to the channel. Rosh and Abi. It's time to wake up, guys.
Time to wake up.
Time to wake up. You know, Frederick Douglass once said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. And that's what we want to share with you guys today. It's about having knowledge. It's in anything, especially when it comes to this world, the ways of this world. Because the point of this video that we're about to show you guys, it's about thinking freely, having that knowledge, not being affiliated or attached to a certain thing, being attached to a certain way of thinking, especially when it comes to this world. Because when you have that knowledge, you're no longer a slave. And that's a lot of people who claim to be woke, they still have a slave mentality.
Absolutely.
They still have chains around their mind. They still have chains around their brains. And that's what's really happening. And that's why we present these videos to you guys to wake people up.
Yes.
To wake people up. Because that's very important.
Yes. And I want to say there's a saying that goes, it says, one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that other people think the way they do.
Yes.
And that's why, and the reason why I'm saying this is because that's why it's important for us to be able to understand, okay, everybody is different. And I'm not expecting you to think like me. Neither should you expect me to think like you.
And we're losing that a lot today. Everybody wants you to be on the same, have the same mindset, have the same thoughts. And that's just not true.
Right.
That's just not true. That's really what society wants us to do. They want to group everyone into a box, have the same group think. And if you don't think that way, guess what? You're a rebel. But this is something I repeat all the time, that when you read the scriptures, the Israelites, the people of the Bible, they were considered rebels. They didn't go along and conform.
They did not.
Remember, when they were surrounded in these other nations, they didn't take on the ways of the other nations.
No,
they didn't take
not.
on the ways of Egypt.
Right.
They didn't take on the ways of Babylon.
Right.
They didn't take on the ways of Rome.
People always recognize that they were distinct people.
Exactly.
They were different from everybody else.
So how will you be set apart if you're thinking like everyone else? If you're thinking like the world? If you're promoting or you're accepting the things that the world promotes?
Exactly.
Think about it. Another quote from Carter G. Woodson, and that's what I love about our ancestors from back in the day, especially during the times of slavery. They understood a lot of these things. They understood a lot about how they controlled their mind. But that slave owner, he didn't have to control you with the whip all the time. He controlled you by implanting certain things in your mind that you acted a certain way without you even telling them. And that's what's going on today. Listen to this quote from Carter G. Woodson. If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action. When you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself about what he will do. If you make a man feel that he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status. For he will seek it himself.
Whoa.
Mental slavery. That's mental slavery, guys.
Whoa,
and this video is the perfect example of that. It says,
if
you do not you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. If you make a man think he is justly an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no back door, listen to this, his very nature will demand one.
Wow.
So it's already ingrained with him, even if there's no back door.
Oh my goodness. We have to listen to these people from back in the day that was trying to
had so much
tell
knowledge
us
and
things.
wisdom.
Right. They was trying to share this wisdom with us.
Absolutely.
This is deep and this is true.
Very deep. Very deep. And that comes to this video. I'm sure you guys probably seen it already. Or heard about it. This is Charlamagne talking with presidential candidate Larry Elder. So now people are probably saying, okay, Rosh and Abi, are you guys Republicans? Because you're about to show Larry Elder. We're neither Republican nor Democrat.
Neither one.
We are anyone who supports the word of Yah.
Yes.
Who's promoting
morality.
The word. Exactly.
What's right.
Exactly.
That's who we for.
Exactly. So
whoever that is.
Absolutely. And that's why we like this video. That's why we want to show it to you guys. Because this is Larry Elder and Charlamagne the God, the host from the Breakfast Club. They had this exchange that kind of went viral. And basically Charlamagne told him a N-word wake-up call, asked him if he ever got one. And Larry Elder is going to kind of really put him in his place and telling him, you telling me to get a wake-up call, but really, you need to wake up. So watch this, guys. Check us out and let us know what you think. Check out this exchange.
Have you ever heard of the term wake-up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever
Well,
had
I'm acutely aware, Charlamagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset.
Let's pause right here. Isn't that ironic? But you see that's how the system does it. That's what they do. Just what Carter G. Wilson was saying. We both black, so how you saying I'm not aware of what's going on?
Right.
When he just checked them, like, you had this white man, this Caucasian man, come sit in your presence and tell you this is how you should think. But
you didn't have no problem with him.
You didn't have a problem with him, but you're gonna check me.
Right, and I'm just sitting out with you, sharing some knowledge with you, sharing wisdom with you. He's actually sharing facts with him. Nothing he said was off. He was sharing facts with him. And the thing is, Charlamagne was so in tune to criticize him and read from the prompts that they gave him that he could not even hear what the man was saying. The man was actually educating him. But he could not hear it because he is so in tune, again, to what they told him to say to make this man look bad.
Yes. True. Let's continue watching.
You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like
that.
But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a wake-up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney, because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black unless you think a certain kind of way. It seems to me that should have been a wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
Yeah, I think both.
I don't know what you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say think a certain kind of way, otherwise you, quote, ain't black. Wow.
How should I have replied to him, you think?
What I just now said, how dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black people, black men walking around are really black. 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump. How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
I mean, you're probably right, but I didn't take it in that way.
I did.
As I said to him in that moment, it's just about me wanting something for my people. And I want to know, what is he going to do for my people? And not only for my people now, how are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
That's it. Right.
And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out with segregationists, talked about how well he got along with them, talked about how he didn't want integration because of a jungle. This guy has made all sorts of insulting things to black people, and his policies right now are hurting black people. Inflation hurts the people at the bottom more than anything else. Letting a bunch of illegal aliens into the border are hurting black people more than anybody else, as I said earlier. He opposes school choice when he has his own kids in private school, and we lost a year, almost 2 years of in-school education in California because of COVID that he supported. I mean, this guy has done monstrous things to black people, and then for him to come in here and tell you how you ought to think as a black person, it blew my mind.
Wow. That's incredible.
Incredible.
That's incredible. And you notice towards the end when like he stumped him, he really couldn't say nothing. He's like,
right.
well, he starts stuttering.
Exactly.
But it's true. That's what we're telling you guys. You have to think independently. And you wouldn't fall into a trap like this. You think independently. You call out both sides.
Exactly.
You think for yourself. You're not a slave.
Exactly.
You can't be so beholden to someone. And he called him out to what he had to say. He's like, what? Charlamagne said, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. You're saying that, but you're pushing the talking points where they're telling you what to say.
Exactly.
So you saying that now because you got caught.
Exactly.
Because you had no response. But you really don't believe like that. Yes, you do believe the way Joe Biden thinks. You just couldn't say nothing.
Exactly. Obviously, because you obviously pushing the agenda.
Absolutely.
That they're pushing. You know, like I said, just the fact that the man was educating you and educating the viewers, and you didn't even want to hear it because you were so in tune to pushing your agenda. Well, not his agenda, pushing the agenda of the people who is behind who he works for.
Right. And you can see, guys, I know y'all see it all across the internet. People are hurting, and that's what he was saying. He's like, those policies are actually hurting us. Gas is high. I mean, what eggs was like a couple of months ago, like $9-10 for a carton of eggs.
I even seen some at 12.
Wow. Milk was like $7-8 a gallon. So these policies are hurting everyone. So we just have
those that's at the top.
Exactly. But there's more middle class and poor than those that's at the top. But
exactly.
You have to toe the line. You still have those chains around your mind. You're still a mental slave. You're in mental slavery.
Yes.
And that's what we're telling you guys. It's time to wake up. Time to wake up. Don't fall beholden.
Thinkers.
Exactly. Don't fall beholden to these policies and to these parties, these political parties, when they really none of them have your best interest in mind. None of them. They're for themselves at the end of the day. They're all about power, family. They're all about keeping power, and they're going to do whatever it takes to keep themselves in power.
That's true.
And that's what Larry was telling Charlamagne. If you really look at it, these policies are hurting you.
Right.
So we thought
this is for all people.
Right.
All races of people.
Absolutely.
This is important for all of us to be able to be individual thinkers. And actually, whenever you're not, and whenever you think like Charlamagne, then you no longer. It's like you lose your conscience. You no longer have a conscience. Where you
selling your soul.
Exactly. So now anything is acceptable to you.
Yes, and you can't say anything because you know if I talk against the people that's paying me, this is what's going to happen to me. So I have to defend it, even though it's hurting me, and even though I know it's not in my best interest.
Right, and then you no longer stand for anything.
You don't stand for anything. And what they said, if you don't stand for anything,
you fall for anything.
Exactly. So we definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on it, on their exchange, what Charlamagne did, Larry's response to him. We want you to be independent thinkers. That's the only way you're going to break free of this.
Right.
Break free of mental slavery. You'll never be like what Carter G. Woodson said. You'll never fear inferior. They could never just tell you anything, and you never just accept anything. So that's what we're telling you guys. Again, we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next video.
All right, guys.
Wake up, family.